Welcome to English Core. We're so glad to have you. Take a deep breath, settle in, and let's cultivate genuine mental fortitude and sharpen your English skills together. Step by calm, practical step. Ready to embark? Let's dive in. Let's be honest. This world doesn't readily reward weakness. If you're overly emotional, people will exploit your sensitivities. If you're prone to overthinking, the world will relentlessly move forward, leaving you struggling to catch up. If you're too gentle, someone will inevitably hurt you, likely without remorse. People may try to take advantage of you. They might deceive you. They might scoff at your aspirations, and they may exploit your silence for their gain. That's precisely why, in this era, more than material wealth, more than physical attractiveness, more than the fleeting validation of followers or fame, developing mental strength is paramount. Weak minds often suffer in quiet isolation. In contrast, strong minds work diligently in solitude, quietly building empires. But what does it truly mean to be mentally strong? It doesn't equate to being the loudest voice in the room, nor does it mean perpetually masking your true feelings with a forced smile. It means possessing the ability to remain composed in the face of adversity, choosing inner peace over impulsive panic, maintaining clarity of thought amidst chaos, and remaining centered even when experiencing pain. Sadly, a significant portion of the population today exhibits mental fragility. They are quick to anger. They crumble under the weight of trivial matters. They engage in the detrimental practice of comparing themselves to curated images on platforms like Instagram, constantly seeking external validation to feel worthy. But that cycle ends now. If you're ready to commit to change, this video will provide you with 15 powerful strategies to cultivate a mindset that surpasses 99% of the population. And always remember, strong minds engage in thoughtful discussions about ideas. Average minds tend to focus on events. Weak minds resort to gossip and personal attacks. Let's reject weakness, embracing a potent strength rooted in tranquility. And, as we do, let's simultaneously refine your English proficiency. Our first point is to train your mind to remain calm, especially when surrounded by chaos. A resilient mind isn't one that's immune to pain. Rather, it's one that possesses the ability to maintain composure even when facing overwhelming circumstances. Let's face it, we all encounter stress, financial difficulties, academic pressures, relationship challenges, heartbreak, family expectations, setbacks, and career obstacles. When these challenges arise, many individuals lose control, succumbing to shouting, crying, and blaming others. However, those who are mentally strong respond differently. They don't react impulsively. They pause, breathe, think clearly, and then act with wisdom. Reacting emotionally rarely resolves the underlying issue. It typically exacerbates it. Consider a scenario where someone publicly insults you. A person lacking mental fortitude might retaliate with angry words, lose their composure, or even resort to physical confrontation. In contrast, a strong individual would likely smile, walk away, and let their subsequent success speak volumes. That calm, collected mindset is your most potent tool. Building a fulfilling and successful life is nearly impossible if your emotions are in control. You must learn to master your emotions, particularly anger, jealousy, fear, and anxiety. Start practicing this consciously. When someone directs negativity toward you, resist the urge to respond immediately. Pause, breathe, and consider your response. When things don't go as planned, find a quiet space to sit in silence for 10 minutes, allowing your thoughts to settle. When you feel anger rising, ask yourself if this situation will even matter in 5 years. Remember, strong minds aren't characterized by loudness. They are characterized by calmness, and in that calmness, they become unshakable. Point number 2. Dedicate time to yourself and cultivate the ability to enjoy your own company. Many individuals are afraid of solitude. They feel a constant need for interaction, constantly seeking the stimulation of social media, music, or other distractions, because silence makes them uneasy. But here's an important truth. If you can't comfortably spend 30 minutes alone with your thoughts, how will you ever navigate life's inevitable challenges and difficulties? Spending time with yourself means gaining clarity about your true self, understanding your thoughts, acknowledging your feelings, and exploring the reasons behind those feelings. It means learning to enjoy your own presence without needing external validation. The most resilient people aren't necessarily those with the most extensive social circles. Rather, they're those who feel whole and complete even when alone. Being alone doesn't equate to loneliness. Being alone provides opportunities for empowerment, self-reflection, and spiritual rejuvenation. Utilize this time to journal your thoughts daily. Take walks without headphones, and ask yourself profound questions, such as, what am I avoiding? Why am I feeling anxious? And what do I truly desire? Many people are more familiar with the lives of celebrities than they are with their own inner landscape. This is why they often feel empty, panic when they don't receive immediate responses to their messages, and experience jealousy when others find happiness. However, when you consciously dedicate time to self-reflection, you initiate a process of healing, personal growth, and emotional independence. Once you learn to appreciate your own company, you'll never again feel the need to beg for someone else's attention. Point 3. Make a conscious effort to avoid overthinking. Learn the art of letting go. Overthinking is a major obstacle to mental strength, and it's a pervasive issue. Perhaps you misspoke during a conversation, and you find yourself dwelling on it for hours. Or, you send a message and don't receive a reply, and you conjure up multiple possible scenarios in your mind. Maybe you make a minor mistake, and suddenly it feels like your entire future is irrevocably ruined. That isn't thinking. It's self-inflicted torment. Let me share something very real with you. Your mind is an incredibly powerful tool, but if you don't consciously control it, it can easily become your worst enemy. A person lacking mental strength tends to fixate on the past, constantly replaying events and thinking, what if I had said this instead? Why did they treat me that way? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? And what does all of this mental clutter accomplish? It doesn't alter the past, and it doesn't adequately prepare you for the future. Instead, it robs you of your peace, disrupts your sleep, and undermines your confidence. So, how do you break free from the cycle of overthinking? Begin by acknowledging this simple truth. Not everything warrants your attention and energy. If someone misunderstands you, clarify your position once. If they still don't grasp it, let it go. If you've made a mistake, correct it if possible. Then forgive yourself and move on. If you're uncertain about what tomorrow holds, resist the urge to speculate endlessly. Simply wait and focus on living in the present moment. You don't need to have all the answers right now. All you need is the courage to take the next step, free from the constraints of fear. Picture this. You attend a job interview, but you don't receive a callback. A person lacking mental strength might spiral into negative self-talk, thinking, maybe I said something wrong. Maybe they didn't like me. I'm such a failure. I'll never find a job. That kind of thinking destroys self-esteem. However, someone with mental strength would think, perhaps I wasn't the right fit for that particular role, but I'll learn from the experience and keep trying. One rejection doesn't define my future. They acknowledge the disappointment, but they don't allow it to consume them. You must consciously train your brain to interrupt the cycle of overthinking. Whenever your mind starts racing with negative thoughts and hypothetical scenarios, tell yourself, this isn't constructive, and it's not necessarily based in reality. Let me redirect my focus to what I can actually control. Overthinking is a habit, but so is inner peace. You have the power to choose which one you cultivate each day. Point 4. Rather than chasing fleeting attention, Focus on building genuine self-respect. We live in a culture where many individuals are driven by a desire to be seen, seeking validation through likes, followers, compliments, and recognition, even if it's superficial. When they don't receive that attention, they feel worthless. However, mental strength begins to develop when you shift your focus from "who's watching me" to "am I proud of the person I'm becoming?" Weak individuals often rely on external validation to feel alive, whereas strong individuals devote their energy to pursuing their goals. Ask yourself honestly, why do you feel compelled to share every detail of your life online? Why do you feel dejected when someone doesn't notice your new haircut? Why do you constantly seek to prove yourself to people who may not even genuinely care? It's likely because, deep down, you're still seeking external approval. But here's a fundamental truth. Those who most desperately seek attention are often the most insecure. Genuine confidence is often expressed quietly. A lion doesn't need to constantly roar to assert its dominance. Its presence is inherently respected. You don't need 1,000 people to applaud your efforts. You need to acknowledge and appreciate your own efforts, even when no one else is watching. Imagine someone going to the gym, not to improve their health and well-being, but solely to take selfies for social media. They might skip workouts or avoid pushing themselves, but they consistently seek attention online. When they don't receive comments like, "Wow, you look great," they feel empty. That's not strength, it's a validation addiction. Now, contrast that with someone who consistently works out, quietly and diligently, without posting anything online. They avoid drama and the spotlight, simply focusing on their goals. After 6 months, they've achieved a significant transformation, not for the approval of others, but for their own sense of accomplishment. That's true mental power. Adopt this approach in your own life. Don't reveal every detail of your plans. Let your results speak for themselves. Stop trying to impress strangers and start focusing on impressing your future self. Learn to find joy in your endeavors, even when no one is applauding. The moment you stop chasing attention, you'll begin to attract genuine respect, including self-respect. Attention is fleeting, but self-respect is enduring. Point 5. Actively seek discomfort, recognizing that growth rarely occurs within comfort zones. Let me share a truth that many people won't openly admit. If you prioritize an easy life above all else, you'll likely never cultivate a strong mind. This generation often prioritizes comfort above all else. Comfortable beds, comfortable jobs, comfortable relationships, and comfortable excuses. They tend to avoid anything challenging, uncertain, or demanding. But here's the reality. Every time you choose comfort, you're essentially rejecting opportunities for growth. Every time you avoid difficulty, you're choosing weakness. Observe the lives of some of the strongest individuals in the world, not just in terms of physical strength, but also in terms of mental fortitude. They've likely endured significant hardship, experiencing pain, failure, rejection, loneliness, and embarrassment. But they persevered, continuing to move forward and keep trying. Growth occurs when you venture into unfamiliar territory. Imagine being terrified of public speaking. Every time you speak, your hands tremble, your voice cracks, and your mind goes blank. So you avoid speaking opportunities, choosing to hide and remain silent, allowing others to take the stage. It might feel safe in the short term, but every time you avoid that discomfort, your fear intensifies and your confidence diminishes. Now, consider the alternative. You volunteer to speak, even though you're nervous. Even if you stumble, you keep going. Even if you forget your lines, you recover and continue. Eventually, you'll find that the shaking subsides, the fear diminishes, and you speak with increasing confidence. This transformation occurs because you chose discomfort over hiding, recognizing that growth lies outside your comfort zone. It's in the gym when your muscles are burning. It's at 5 a.m. when you'd rather sleep but choose discipline, and it's in the moments when you fail but choose to get back up and try again. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your trainer, your teacher, and your pathway to becoming unstoppable. Many people will never achieve mental strength, not because they lack intelligence, but because they consistently prioritize what feels easy over what fosters growth. Comfort might offer momentary peace, but discomfort provides long-term strength and resilience. If you aspire to mental strength, embrace challenges, confront your fears, and do the uncomfortable things consistently, every day. Point 6. Cultivate patience for success, recognizing that rushing the process is often counterproductive. Let's be realistic. This generation often seeks instant gratification, desiring immediate success, quick relationships, effortless wealth, and instant respect. They want to develop a strong mind without experiencing any pain. But here's the unvarnished truth. Anything that comes easily often doesn't last, and anything that truly lasts requires time and effort. Mental strength isn't built in a week. It's not the result of a single YouTube video or a quick hack. It's the culmination of consistent effort, even when no one is applauding, noticing, or caring. If you aspire to success, resilience, and self-respect, stop questioning why it's taking so long, why you haven't reached your goals yet, or why others seem to be ahead of you. Instead, focus on becoming better today than you were yesterday. Are you putting in the work, even when it's monotonous? Can you persevere without giving up? Consider the analogy of a tree. Before it grows tall and strong, it spends years developing its root system underground. This process is invisible, unseen, and often unappreciated, but those roots are what enable it to withstand storms. Now, compare that to individuals who try to achieve rapid growth without developing a strong foundation. One setback, and they crumble. One heartbreak, and they break down. One rejection, and they give up because they rushed the process. Strong minds are cultivated slowly and deliberately, not microwaved for instant results. Be patient with your journey. The results of your gym workouts might not be immediately visible, but they're gradually changing your body. Reading books might feel slow, but it's steadily sharpening your mind. Your English fluency might not be perfect yet, but with each day of practice, you're improving. Patience is a superpower. In a world that demands instant results, be the one who says, "I don't care how long it takes. I won't stop until I become the best version of myself." And remember this: the day you plant the seed isn't the day you harvest the fruit. So, avoid judging your progress based on what others are doing. You're not behind. You're simply building something real, and real success takes time. Point 7. Cultivate discipline, consistently doing what needs to be done, even when you lack the motivation to do it. If motivation is the initial spark, then discipline is the sustaining fire that keeps it burning. Many people aspire to mental strength, but most only take action when they feel inspired, waiting for motivation, energy, or the perfect moment. However, mental strength isn't about feelings. It's about doing what's necessary, even when you don't feel ready. If you only study when you're in the mood, if you only work when it's easy, and if you only show up when you feel inspired, you'll never make significant progress, because life doesn't cater to your moods, success doesn't accommodate your excuses, and your future is being shaped with or without your participation. Discipline means waking up early, even when you're tired, resisting distractions, even when they seem appealing, consistently doing the challenging, monotonous, and sometimes painful work, and finishing what you started, even when no one is watching. Let's consider a real-world example. Imagine two individuals learning English. The first person only studies when they feel like it, sometimes learning a lot, sometimes skipping practice, and sometimes disappearing for weeks. They watch videos and feel inspired, but rarely apply what they've learned consistently. The second person practices every single day, even when tired, busy, or bored. Writing 5 sentences, reading aloud, speaking to themselves in the mirror, and repeating words over and over. Fast forward 6 months. Who speaks fluently and confidently? Not the one who relied on motivation, but the one who cultivated discipline. That's the power of consistent effort. You don't need to be the smartest or the most talented. You simply need to be the one who refuses to quit. Ask yourself, can you work without applause? Can you practice when it's boring? Can you keep improving when no one believes in you? That's where greatness is born. Many people focus on the desired outcome, but mentally strong people focus on the routines because they understand that results are simply a reward for consistent discipline. You don't need to feel motivated every day. You need to become the kind of person who moves forward regardless of their feelings. So, starting today, tell yourself, I might not feel like it, but I'll do it anyway, because my future depends on it. This isn't a choice. It's who I am now. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's self-respect in action. Point 8. Cultivate the ability to live in the present moment, avoiding the trap of dwelling on the past or fearing the future. One of the key indicators of a person lacking mental strength is their inability to be fully present. Their physical presence might be in a particular place, but their mind is either fixated on past events or worried about future possibilities. They might constantly think, I shouldn't have done that. Why did they hurt me? What if I fail tomorrow? What if something goes wrong? As they continue to dwell on the past or worry about the future, the present moment slips away. But here's the truth. You can't change the past, and you can't control the future. All you have is the present, and it's the only place where life actually happens. Mentally strong people understand this, choosing to live fully in the present moment. They avoid drowning in regret and panicking about the future, instead focusing on breathing, feeling, and experiencing everything with clarity. Let's consider this personally. Have you ever eaten your favorite food without truly tasting it because your mind was elsewhere? Or have you ever engaged in a conversation with someone you care about, but weren't really listening? Or have you ever lost sleep because your mind was replaying past mistakes? That's the impact of living in the past or the future. It robs you of your life, one moment at a time. Now, imagine this. You go for a walk and leave your phone behind. You truly notice the sky, feel the breeze, hear the birds, and become aware of your breath. You smile because you're truly alive, not just going through the motions. That's presence, power, and peace. When your mind is fully present, you make better decisions, engage in deeper conversations, and stop wasting energy on things you can't change. Even pain becomes more manageable because you're dealing with it one moment at a time, rather than trying to shoulder the weight of the past or future. Start practicing this. When you eat, focus solely on the food. When you're in a conversation, give your undivided attention. And when your mind starts to wander, gently guide it back to your breath. It might feel challenging at first, but gradually, it will become your new way of living. The present moment isn't small or insignificant. It's everything. It's the only place where change happens, where strength grows, and where healing begins. So, stop allowing your mind to wander aimlessly and bring it back to the present moment. It's where your power resides. Point 9. Avoid comparing yourself to others, understanding that your journey is unique and your timing is sacred. One of the most detrimental things you can do to your mental well-being is to compare your life to the lives of others. Yet, it's a common practice. We might look at someone's social media posts and think, why is their life so perfect? We might hear someone speaking English fluently and think, why can't I speak like that? We might witness someone's success, and instead of feeling inspired, we feel inadequate, insecure, and ashamed. But listen closely. Their path isn't your path. Their timing isn't your timing, and their blessings aren't your blessings. When you compare yourself to others, you're essentially devaluing your own story, telling yourself that you're not enough. And that's the foundation of mental weakness. You lose focus, peace, and your sense of identity. Imagine two individuals planting seeds. One plants a sunflower, while the other plants bamboo. The sunflower grows quickly, reaching its full height and beauty in a matter of weeks. However, for the first 4 years, the bamboo shows no visible growth. People might laugh, saying that nothing is happening. But what they don't see is the extensive root system the bamboo is developing underground. Deep, strong, and powerful. In the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up to a remarkable 90 feet in just a matter of weeks. Was the bamboo late in its development? No, it was simply on a different timeline. The same applies to you. Others might be experiencing rapid success, speaking English fluently, earning more money, getting married, buying cars, or achieving fame. But perhaps you're currently focused on building your foundation. When you rise, you'll be unshakable. So, stop comparing your seed to someone else's flower and focus instead on your soil, your growth, your water, and your light. Understand that what's meant for you will come, but only when you're ready. Comparison is a thief. It steals your focus, poisons your heart, and blinds you to your own blessings. So, starting today, unfollow social media accounts that make you feel inadequate, and spend time with people who make you feel seen and valued. Celebrate your small victories, and trust your own pace. Your life isn't a race. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And once you stop comparing yourself to others, you can truly start living, growing, and healing, which is the essence of true mental strength. Point 10. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude, because a grateful heart can endure almost anything. Let me share something that isn't discussed enough. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. It's about finding beauty, even in moments of pain. Gratitude is the ability to say, yes, I'm facing challenges, but I'm still breathing. Yes, life is difficult, but I'm still here, and I'm still fighting. Yes, things aren't perfect, but I still have reasons to be thankful. Gratitude serves as a form of mental armor, protecting you from negativity, jealousy, fear, and sadness. When your mind focuses on what's lacking, you feel broken. But when your mind focuses on what you still possess, you feel strong, calm, and at peace. Let's delve deeper. Imagine two individuals losing their jobs on the same day. The first person might say, "Why me? I'm such a failure. Everything is ruined." They might sink into depression, blame others, and give up. The second person might say, "This hurts, but maybe it's an opportunity to start something new. At least I still have my skills, my health, and my intellect." They might start small, learn new things, and gradually rebuild their lives. Same problem, but different mindset. The one with gratitude possesses more power, more peace, and more strength. Gratitude doesn't eliminate pain, but it infuses it with meaning, helping you see that even in the darkest times, there's always some light. Start practicing gratitude today. Every morning, before checking your phone, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not necessarily big things, but simple things, like, I can see the sky, I have food to eat, I'm learning English, I still have hope. Every night, before falling asleep, say aloud, "Today wasn't perfect, but I'm thankful I lived it." Gradually, your mindset will shift. You'll stop focusing on what's wrong and start seeing what's right. Gratitude makes you humble and peaceful, and most importantly, it makes you mentally resilient, because no matter what life takes from you, if you know how to say thank you, you're never truly poor. Point 11. Learn to let go of things that you cannot control, freeing your mind and your power. Let's be honest. Many people today are mentally exhausted, not because life is inherently difficult, but because they constantly attempt to control things that are beyond their control. They want to control what others think of them, what their parents expect, how people react to their truths, whether someone stays in their life, whether the world treats them fairly, and whether success comes quickly. When they fail to control these things, they feel defeated. But here's a truth that mentally strong individuals understand. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You can't prevent the storm, but you can learn how to weather it. The moment you attempt to control everything, you surrender your power, essentially telling life, I can only be okay if everything goes according to my plan. That's a sign of weakness. Strength lies in saying, even if things don't go my way, I'll remain calm, focused, and moving forward. Consider a real-world example. Imagine being stuck in a traffic jam, running late for an important meeting. The cars aren't moving, the noise is deafening, and you're feeling frustrated and angry. You constantly check the clock, and you yell in your mind. But does any of that change the situation? No. The traffic won't move faster because you're stressed, and the meeting won't start earlier because you're upset. All of that energy is wasted. Now, imagine someone else in the same traffic jam. They take a deep breath, accepting what they can't change. They call ahead to inform the meeting attendees that they'll be late, and use the time to listen to an informative podcast, perhaps learning something new. Same problem, different mindset, and different level of mental strength. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're wise enough to understand where to invest your energy. So, ask yourself, can I? Here's the translation and rewritten version, focusing on interpretation, clarity, and a touch of expansion. How do you change this situation? Is it something you can actually control? Or are you simply reacting to external forces? If it's truly beyond your influence, then release it from your thoughts. This includes things like other people's opinions, past mistakes you can't undo, delays in your carefully laid plans, hurtful words that others have spoken, and anxieties about the future. Remember, you're not meant to control everything around you. Your power lies in controlling your inner world, your thoughts, the choices you make, where you direct your focus, and how you choose to respond. Start applying this principle whenever you feel stressed. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, take a breath, let it go, and move forward. Redirect that energy into something productive instead. True peace isn't found when everything is perfect and aligned. It's found when you release the need to control everything. The most powerful mind isn't the one that dominates the world, but the one that understands how to surrender to life's flow without sacrificing its inner strength. Point 12. Embrace small, positive changes. This is the foundation upon which significant transformation is built. Everyone desires a major life overhaul. They declare, I want to be confident. I want to achieve success. I want to speak English fluently. I want to be mentally strong. I want to be truly happy. But the reality is this: profound change never arises from mere declarations. It's born from small, consistent actions repeated every single day. Most people stumble because they wait for the perfect moment to initiate something big, but mentally resilient individuals start small, and they start now. They grasp a fundamental rule of growth. Incremental changes, consistently applied, lead to massive transformation over time. Let me illustrate how this works. Want to improve your physical health? Begin with just 5 push-ups each day. Want to become fluent in English? Start by learning 5 new words daily. Yearning for greater confidence? Begin by speaking 1 brave sentence each day. Want to cultivate a more positive outlook? Start by writing down 1 thing you're grateful for each night. Want to experience inner peace? Start by sitting in silence for just 3 minutes a day. These changes may seem insignificant, but they are far from weak. They are potent seeds of possibility. And just as a tiny seed eventually grows into a mighty tree, your small, consistent habits will shape your new identity. Here's where most people go wrong. They attempt too much, too soon. They try to accomplish everything within a single week. They wake up one morning and try to completely transform their lives overnight. But it's overwhelming. They become exhausted and give up. Why? Because lasting change isn't a sprint. It's a daily rhythm. Quiet, gradual, and consistent. Mentally strong people respect the process. They don't demand immediate results. They simply need to see progress, no matter how small. Imagine your life as a large ship. You don't need to make a complete turn in an instant. You simply need to adjust the wheel by a single degree. That 1-degree shift may seem imperceptible today, but over weeks, months, and years, it will alter your entire destination. Start making your 1-degree changes. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Replace one negative thought with a positive affirmation. Instead of mindlessly scrolling for an hour, limit it to 30 minutes. Drink more water. Go to sleep 30 minutes earlier. Be kind to yourself and others at least once a day. These are not trivial matters. They are the building blocks of profound transformation. Don't wait for January 1st. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Start right now. With what you have, where you are, and remind yourself every day, I may not see dramatic results today, but I'm planting seeds. And one day, I will thrive in the forest I created with these small, consistent acts. That's how mental strength is built, brick by brick, day by day, breath by breath. Point 13. Take full responsibility for your failures. No more excuses, only growth. There's one thing mentally weak individuals consistently do. They blame. My parents didn't support me. My teacher didn't explain it well. My boss is unfair. The system is rigged. I didn't succeed because of bad luck. Now, yes, life can indeed be unfair. Sometimes, you'll experience setbacks that are genuinely not your fault. But here's the critical problem. Blaming keeps you trapped. It surrenders your power. It tells your mind, I am not in control. The world controls me. And that's how you remain mentally weak. But mentally strong people do the opposite. They take complete, brutal, and honest responsibility for their lives. They say, yes, I failed, and it's on me. Yes, I made a mistake, but I will learn from it. Yes, the situation was difficult, but I still had choices. When you embrace responsibility for your failures, something remarkable happens. You stop blaming and start learning. You stop complaining and start improving. You transition from being a victim of life to being the architect of your life. Imagine someone fails an English exam. A mentally weak person will say, the questions were too difficult. The teacher didn't explain the material properly. I had too many other things going on, and next time, they'll likely fail again. But a mentally strong person will say, I didn't prepare adequately. I didn't seek help when I needed it. I allowed distractions to interfere. That mindset empowers them every time they stumble. And soon, they don't repeat the same mistakes because they have genuinely grown. Failures are not the enemy. Excuses are. So, from today onward, own your mistakes. Study your failures. Stop blaming. And start building. The more responsibility you assume for your life, the more power you unlock within yourself. Blame is easy. Growth is hard. But only growth will truly transform your life. Point 14. Deliberately do the difficult thing. Train your mind to embrace discomfort. Here's one powerful habit that cultivates unstoppable mental strength. Every morning, tackle the most challenging task first. Why? Because your mind is at its sharpest and most resilient in the morning. And when you accomplish the most difficult task early, you generate momentum, confidence, and clarity for the entire day. But most people avoid the hard things. They delay. They procrastinate. They keep saying, "I'll do it later." And then, the task looms larger in their minds. Anxiety intensifies. Confidence erodes. Guilt accumulates. The entire day feels heavy because the most important thing remains unfinished. Let's break it down. Imagine you have to study for an exam, make a difficult phone call, complete a workout, finish a project, or address a problem with someone. Now, your brain instinctively wants you to do the easy things first. Scroll through social media, watch YouTube videos, organize your desk, conduct unnecessary research. That quickly turns into 3 hours of distraction. But what if, immediately after waking up, you took a deep breath and simply tackled the hard thing first? Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's frightening, even if it's not perfect, once it's done, your mind feels liberated. You stand taller. You feel proud. You've already accomplished more than most people will achieve all day. The easy road makes life harder in the long run, but the hard road makes you stronger. Doing the difficult thing first trains your brain to stop avoiding life's challenges, because life isn't always comfortable. Success isn't always enjoyable. Growth isn't always pretty. But the person who trains their mind to confront discomfort head-on is the person who becomes mentally unbreakable. Make this your daily rule. One hard task completed first. One uncomfortable situation faced early. One moment of courage displayed before anything else. It will transform how you think, how you live, and how far you go. Point 15. Eliminate negativity from your life. Protect your peace as if your life depends on it. If you aspire to be mentally strong, you must shift your focus from asking, "What should I add to my life?" to asking, "What should I remove?" Because here's a truth that's often overlooked. Sometimes, your mind isn't inherently weak. It's simply surrounded by too much negativity. And negativity is a pervasive poison. It can stem from toxic people who constantly gossip, complain, or belittle you. Negative environments that make you feel insignificant or trapped. Your own negative thoughts, such as self-doubt, fear, judgment, and regret. Social media that inundates your mind with comparison, anxiety, and noise. And habits that drain your energy, such as laziness, anger, and incessant complaining. You can meditate all day, read countless self-help books, and watch every motivational video imaginable. But if you consistently return to a toxic environment, nothing will truly change. Your peace is not merely something to hope for. It's something you must actively protect as if it were your very life. Let's make this concrete. Imagine a beautiful plant. You water it, provide it with sunlight, but every day, someone pours poison into the soil. Will it thrive? No. Not because the plant is inherently weak, but because the surrounding environment is toxic. Your mind is similar. You're not broken. You're not inherently lazy. You're simply surrounded by things that are gradually depleting your energy. Slowly begin to protect yourself. Say goodbye to people who drain you, even if you care about them. Set boundaries with friends who exhibit no personal growth. Limit your screen time. Cease consuming constant negativity. Cut out complaining. Focus on discussing solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Be mindful of what you feed your mind, the music you listen to, the news you consume, the dramas you follow, the gossip you entertain. Your mental strength will surge the moment you eliminate the factors that weaken you. Try this. Clean your physical space. Your room often reflects the state of your mind. Take a negativity fast. Commit to 24 hours with no complaining, gossip, or negative talk. Create a peaceful zone, a designated space where you can go to think, reflect, and recharge. Block or mute people online who make you feel inadequate, angry, or empty. And, most importantly, Stop allowing your own thoughts to bully you. Your inner voice should sound like a supportive coach, not a relentless critic. If it doesn't, actively change that voice. You don't necessarily need a better life. You need a cleaner mind, and that journey begins by removing what doesn't belong. In short, you've just learned 15 ways to cultivate a calmer, stronger mind by embracing discipline, presence, gratitude, and patience, and by eliminating negativity and comparison. If this was helpful, subscribe to English Core and share in the comments which point you plan to practice this week. Your commitment might inspire someone else.